All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is make some banners or pennants with the leftover scraps of paper that I have and also the square punch. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting out a triangle, punching out a triangle from the edge of this really thin half an inch paper, and that's going to be my pennant shape. So you can use your square punch to create perfect pennant edges with some strips of paper. Now, I had a little bit of a hard time using the square punches because they are pretty bulky, but if you have one of those hand punches, like maybe from Fiskars or from Stampin' Up, then you can easily do the punch without kind of the bulkiness of this Creative Memories one. And then I adhered some word stickers on top of that, and then I put some adhesive, some ATG, on the back side of the paper, and then tucked in my toothpick, and that is my pennant. So it's super easy and another fun way to create or to use up this square punch. There it is. And I'm going to make a couple more. Got to figure out which paper that I want to use here. And this one is also another half an inch, and I am just going to run that through my square punch. See, it's my square punch, this specific one is pretty bulky. That's why I have a hard time punching it out. But like I said, if you have a hand punch, single square punch, that will be easy to do. And then these stickers are from Bella Boulevard, and I am just going to be picking out some ones that I know I could use for cards or for layouts. And I like to do two at a time, so I do both edges and I've kind of adhered them to, or adhere the stickers on the edges of them. And then you also want to kind of see where your stickers are going to go, if you want them all, or the pennant, the flags, if you all want them to go on the right side, or if you want them to go on the left side, then you make sure that you are paying attention where the words will come. And that just came off, but it's easy to put that back. And those are my pennants. So I will see you in the next idea.
Hey guys, the second thing that I wanted to show you how you can make your own embellishments with punches are by layering them. So before I go on and kind of fast forward to how I put together all these scraps of paper, let me just show you some of the punches that I love to use when it comes to layering items. So the first thing is this journaling plate and bracket. This is from EK Success, and I just like the bracket, it's or the plate itself, not the brackets, so I use that one. And then I also love circles, because, and especially these ones that are two different sizes that you can layer on top of another. Of course, my 1-inch punch is always used as well, and so is my scallop circle punch. So those are some of the things that I love to use for layering items. And then also, one of the things that I love to do, especially when I have a bunch of scraps, is just kind of go a little bit crazy with punching. And I put all my items in these containers. This is actually a dip container, or a party platter that I got from Dollar Tree. And so I just organize them by type and just kind of go to town. And like, as you can see here, I did a bunch of bows. And so whenever I want one, I could get some. And then there's some leaves over there too. These ones are words that I have used a die cut with, but you can totally use this for shapes that you have punched. And these are hearts there, and then also the brackets, like I said. So I just punched them out. These are actually cut out from my silhouette, but you can always, if you have butterfly punch, you can always use that. And then I just stamp some leaves, and then I hand cut them. Then just a bunch of little random embellishments and whatnot. So here are some ideas where you can organize your punched shapes or punched papers, and then you can always come back later and then also just, use for layering. So let's get on how I layer items.
Okay, so I have all these punched out shapes, and then I'm just gathering them all up. First one I'm going to do is these the frame shape. That's going to be the base, and then I have these labels that I have actually used the die cut with, and then I kind of adhere that, overlapping each other, and then I'm going to be adhering my word, and that's going to be my embellishment there. So that's one. And then the second one, I'm going to be layering these butterflies. There's 3 of them in 3 different sizes, and I just tucked in or adhered all of them together using my tiny attacher. I just placed one staple in the center of it so I can kind of flip the butterfly wings to make it look like they're moving and fluttering. And then I found this one sticker. I actually didn't like these circle ones, so I'm going to use a word sticker instead. And that's going to be my second one. So as you can see, this goes pretty fast once you have all of your items punched out. I love doing this when I'm like watching TV or catching up on my YouTube videos that I like to watch, and it helps me to use up my stash. And also I have pre-made embellishments ready to go when I am ready to scrapbook. The one thing that I want to give you, or I want to advise you, is that when you are layering, make sure that you're paying attention to the colors of the pattern paper or the elements, and don't put colors together. Don't put papers or patterns that are too close together in design and also in color close together. So like the circle one, I made sure that I layered the black one over a light paper, and then a light paper over that black one, so that you can see the distinguishing colors and patterns between each of the layers. And then I finished off that paper, or that circle accent, with a flower, and then I tucked in some labels that I'd cut out from paper. And then here's another circle accent. I have a label there, and then I am going to do that technique again where I am making my scallop circle with the flower punch. This time I'm going to use these circle papers from Bella Boulevard. I couldn't quite do it perfectly with just kind of eyeballing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the piece that I actually want out of those circles, and then lay that on my punch so that I can do it perfectly in the center of that circle. And I punched out the heart stamp that I used in, I believe, lesson 3 with my flowers ideas. I'm going to adhere that heart with a foam stamp, and not foam stamp, foam adhesive. And I'm going to be looking for some words that would go with that label. So there are multiple ways that you can use your your punches to make some accents, and here are just examples of it. All right, so the third way that you can make embellishments using your punches are making your cloud punches into ice cream scoops. I've done this a long time ago, and I love the results of it. So I have this cloud punch from Fiskars. It's one of those really easy squeeze punch, and then I cut out some pattern paper scraps. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my ice cream cones. So I just cut out a piece of brown, and I cut that into a triangle, and that's going to be my ice cream scoop. Now I'm trying to look for a rectangle piece that would house all of my items, and the ones that I had picked out was just too small for the ice cream that I want, and so I'm going to go with this green one. Now these papers, this rectangle papers, does actually have a stitched edge design to them, and using a die from Memory Box. And so I punched out some papers that I thought would be really cute to look like ice cream scoops, and then I'm ready to go and punch them out. So I'm going to put my cone on the bottom piece first, and then of course like any ice cream scoop, they're going to be overlapping each other. So that's another way that you can kind of extend the mileage that you have with your cloud punches, is not only using them as a cloud punch, but also using them as an ice cream scoop. accent to your page. I'm actually going to turn this into centers for cards, and you will see the cards in just a little bit here. So no paper is wasted in these classes because you can use the scraps or the leftovers from all of our lessons to make these beautiful and fun accents. You can even pop this up with some foam adhesive if you want to. I added a button on the top of it to make it look like it's a cherry. And I'm going to show you here. These are the cards that I've created with them.
Hey guys, so for this specific handmade embellishments, I am going to be working with some butterfly punches and then an embossing folder and then the vellum and some scraps of pattern paper. So I wanted to show you that by punching out a shape on vellum and then using your dry embossed folders, it creates some really elegant designs that could be used as is or as part of layering, like what I did with this butterfly. So what I first did was that I punched out the bigger butterfly punches out of the vellum, and you can either do that upside down or the right side up. It just depends on what you prefer when you're punching. And then you run that piece through your sandwich it in your embossing folder. I would suggest, because the shapes are small, to choose folders or designs that have smaller designs on it, like this swirl one. This is actually a little bit bigger than what I would prefer, but then there's also those small Swiss dots one that is one of my favorites too. So you just run that, and then you will get your vellum or your butterflies with some embossed accents on it, which is really pretty. And then you can even go further and then add some inking just on the raised part of the item or the shape so that you can have color on it. And then after that, I just decided that I wanted to use this lace part of this paper just so that it will coordinate with the very kind of soft feel of the vellum. So I just punched out my butterfly. The bigger butterfly is a Marvia Cheetah, and then this one's a Martha Stewart punch. And then I just layer that, and then you can adhere it any way you want, but I like to do the centers with a tiny attacher. And then you can kind of curl it, and then that's where your embellishment look like. So you can add that on a card or on a layout. Isn't that pretty? So that is how I use my butterfly punches to make my own embellishments.
And here is the card that resulted from that handmade embellishment. And now we go on our last way of using your using your punches to create handmade embellishments. And this one is pretty simple. I am just going to make a pattern paper border, but instead of your typical square, I am kind of making a geometric pattern by just using my corner rounder. So again, I'm using a lot of the scraps from the previous lessons from this class, and I am punching that out with my 1.5-inch square punch. And then I have this strip of paper that is about 2.5 by 11 inch, and then what I'm doing is I'm rounding the corners of two opposite edges of the paper, and that's going to create my geometric shape with my squares. So I mean, this is not a super innovative idea. I know that I'm sure that you've seen this before, but I just like how with just a little bit of experimentation with our punches, with our existing punch, that we can create all sorts of designs with the items that we have. I mean, with this one, it just has that subtle difference with the compared to a very blocky, just square design. and I am not adhering, but I am laying them down with a bit of white space in between the blocks so that you can see the background, and also kind of reminds me of a quilt and how it it adds that little bit of the backing showing off. And I love how pattern papers, especially the double-sided ones, uh, we can use both patterns, and perfect for these kinds of projects. And so I'm going to be showing you the layout that I had actually created with this border, along with a few other embellishments that I had created from this lesson. So I hope that you've enjoyed this lesson. I hope that you've enjoyed this class, and it had helped you to look at your punches in a different way. And I look forward to hearing your comments about the lessons in the comment section below. Bye.